And that concludes most of my Russian. I always like to tell people I have to apologize. I'm from America, so I only speak one language. I'm from Texas, so I don't speak it very well. But I make up for that by speaking really fast and loud. So hopefully that helps. Apologies to the translators. So thank you for coming to my talk. This is also my, if you see right here, this is my legal disclaimer. I'm not a lawyer, though I've played one on the internet before successfully. And so I want you to understand when I'm talking about some of the bad things that I do and how I've broken in and how I robbed someone or did something really bad, you're gonna go, that's really mean. That's horrible. Why would you do that? Just remember the kittens. I'm adorable, okay? I will not try to steal from you, kill you, or ruin you financially unless you pay me first. There's always a contract. So whenever I get to those parts, just remember the kittens. So that's one of the key things. The second thing is, in this talk, there's a theme, it turned out, and it wasn't by on fault. It wasn't like on purpose. It was just by accident. But there's a theme where it's like I'm making a lot of fun at a lot of US government agencies. And I want you to know, it's like I'm not trying to pick on them. It's just they turn out to be really good at giving good examples of bad security. So that's not my fault. So hashtag sorry, not sorry. So that's all my disclaimers I got to go with. Let's go to the next part. This is a title, I pwn thee, I pwn thee not. Basically, it's the top 3 things I love for my clients to do when I'm robbing them. And it's also because, you know why, it makes it easier to rob them. And also the top 3 things I hate for my clients to do because it makes it harder for me to rob them. And then after that, we're gonna talk a little bit about some of the things you can and can't do to actually start helping and making more security awareness for your employees and making it better protected. So a little bit about me. You may have noticed me in the upper left-hand corner. I was on National Geographic's season 2, episode 2, A Breakthrough, as you watched as I actually robbed a bank in Beirut, Lebanon. That was the correct one, so that was awesome. And then you may have noticed me in the press on the right, different news agencies. I've talked about that. But my favorite, the one that I love the most, is the lower left-hand corner. It's like, so in the lower left-hand corner, you see where I'm actually, that red circle, they put that there. That's me getting an employee to get up out of his desk. So it's like I could compromise his machine while he watched me. He was shoulder surfing and everything. It was very, very uncomfortable. That's me stealing in that lower left hand here, this one right here. It's like, that's me actually robbing a hotel in the south of France, barefoot, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pajama bottoms and a t-shirt. And I also, on that same engagement, was able to get full access to the server, all the hotel's master keys, and one of their unlocked workstations in their back office area. It was a 5-star hotel. They provided everything. It was very nice. Good Yelp review. But my favorite is that one right there where you see the computer. That's because I literally walked into the bank, walked behind the teller line. There was a teller giving service to a client right beside me. I didn't even say hello. I was pretty rude on that engagement. I didn't even say hello, hi, or nothing. I just unplugged the computer and walked out without even saying anything. So it was like sort of rude, but it was really cool. So that's what I do. So that's what I do. It's like that's the reason why I'm here. One of the other reasons why I'm here is because I'm talking about certain things, and people are going to realize I'm very intimidated. I'm gonna be straight up with honesty. I don't filter. It's like I tell people I lie for a living. I don't do it for free. So I was very intimidated getting on this stage because there is a lot of great technical talks here. I mean, and they're dropping O-Day in them, and I'm like, my talk is not technical. But that's one of the key things I want to get a point though across, is that we talk about the 0 days, we talk about how technical those things are, and everybody wants to be that guy on the left, you know? It's like we want to break into the red team. It's like, you know, be ninjas, go through skylights. It's like act like we know what we're doing. It's like, and when you do that, and you do that advanced attack, sometimes your employee, your contractor, client will go and say, well, that's awesome. I'm like, no, that's not awesome. Look at all what we did. It's like, yeah, but you were so advanced.
You were so persistent. You were so threatening. Of course we couldn't, be defended against you. So we're fine. No, that's not what you're supposed to get from that. We all talk about O days. Do you realize 86% of companies, all the vulnerabilities that they got breached with were over a decade old? So you're worried about these O days dropping. Why don't you patch that 5,433 O day? Maybe you should get working on that one, because that's what it's about. That's what they're doing. I'm the guy on the right. I tell people this stuff's so easy, even I can do it. It's like that's one of the things we need to learn. It's like we need to make sure that our clients are protected against some of the simple threats, some of the threats that are like they're going to face more readily than you going in and dropping a 0 day on their printer that gets into their VoIP line that goes in and like, I'm in. Great. It's like you got an employee over there clicking in an email and your server has MSOA 67 vulnerability on it. It's like that's something that you should have also fixed. Now, another problem that we face in our industry is this is what your executives expect from you, right? It's like what's on the left. That's what they want. We got to make a bigger firewall. We got to make the APTs pay for it. It's like we're going to make security great again. I'm sorry. It's like that's what we're expecting, right? That's what they want. That's what they demand from you. They want that kind of defense. And you're like, yeah, let's do that. Let's get that wall in there. This is the budget. This is what we need to make that happen. And executives are like, whoa, hold on. Let's not get crazy. It's like, we're going to give you the budget for what's on the right. Okay? It's like, we'll give you what's on the right, but we want what's on the left. And you're like, that doesn't compute. I mean, are you going to at least give me a guy with binoculars and like maybe a traffic cone in front of the one on the right? Maybe something? It's like, so it's like you got to understand that we're faced with these kind of problems. So I'm saying instead of just getting blinky boxes, it's like, I'm not against technology. I'm not against blinky boxes. Some of them are really cool. Some have blue lights now instead of red lights. I mean, they're very fancy blinky boxes. They're obviously 2.0 with AI and machine learning on the blockchain. So that's awesome. But what about we actually start doing something else besides trying to get technology to solve our people problem and start getting our people to solve our technology problem? So, and let's go right off the first thing. One of the things I love it to death, is employees not empowered or educated to question the unusual. It's like, that's one of our biggest failings, I think. It's like, I was on a job last month in the city in the US, and I was there to compromise this secured facility. It was like a secured lobby area. Then I go up to the other floor where there was another secured door, and then I was gonna be inside the area. Spoiler alert, I got in. Was in. It's like I sent a text message to the person who was hired me, and I told them the point of contact. I was like, so I'm here, and they're like, where's your office? And they were like, oh no, we're down this building. It's like, go down this street, this is where we're at. And I'm like, no. I sent them another picture. I've sent them a picture of me in their break room. And I was like, I'm here. Where's your office? So it's like, so I was trying to go and when I do an engagement, when I do a security awareness engagement, it's not about winning. It's like, because you know why? Servers don't get their feelings hurt when you pop them with MSOA 67. They don't care. It doesn't compute, right? It's like humans do. Humans get upset when you compromise them. So I don't do red team engagements. I do security awareness engagements. Every time I do an engagement, I get caught. I make sure that I do something that trips me up so that person will catch me. Well, on this one, it was a little bit more difficult. So I'd already compromised the facility. It's like I'd already gotten in. It's like, so now I want to get into the second part of the educational process. So on the second day of the engagement, I go in with a USB charging cable. It looks like a lightning cable. It was a USB Ninja. It's like, so it's like it had a little Arduino. It's like a little mini computer inside it. And it was like, so I started going to people and I had a fake badge. Thank you, Instagram, because an employee actually posted a picture of their badge on Instagram. It took my friend April exactly less than 15 minutes to create a
new employee badge using the company's logo because that was what was on top of the badge. May want to switch those up every once in a while. And so I started walking around and I was telling employees, like, because I want to get caught, I want to be obvious. So I was like, hey, I'm with the company. It's like I'm doing a USB rights management check. It's like I want to make sure that you can't charge your devices through the computer. We only provide these power outlets so you can charge your devices through there. So I just need to plug this in and do a test. It'll be real simple. And you're like, okay, cool. So I plug in a cable. I don't even put the phone to it. It's just a cable. I plug it in, and then I pull out of my pocket a detonator. It's not really a detonator, but it sounds cool when I say detonator. It's a little square little box with Bluetooth, and it's got a little antenna, and it's got 2 buttons on it. So it's like, so I pull out my detonator, and I go boop. It doesn't really say boop, but it sounds cool when you say boop. So boop. It's like, and then all of a sudden on their screen, Notepad pops up. It auto-magically types, test completed successfully, thank you for your cooperation, smiley emoji. That's legit, right? Of course that would happen when someone plugs in a cable. Well, obviously the answer is yes, because I did it 6 out of 6 times, and every single one of them were like, okay. I'm like, thank you, test completed successfully. I'm here. And now I'm getting a little discouraged because I'm supposed to get caught. And I'm like, so I call the point of contact back over, and I'm like, hey, this is not working. I'm successful. We need to do something else. So I pull out a bash bunny. It's like, and I use this bash bunny, it's blockier, it's more of a USB. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go and try to attack this other area of your company, and I'm gonna be a little bit less sure. It's like I'm gonna be more hesitant. I'm not gonna say I'm from the company. I'm just gonna try to inflect my voice differently. We'll see what happens. It's like, spoiler alert, 6 out of 6 times it worked. I'm like, I'm trying to be a bad guy here, but it's like I want them to catch the bad guy. So now I go to him, it's like, well, the next part is I'm gonna go and I'm just gonna blow it. I'm just gonna be like, hey, can I plug this in? See what happens. After the second time that was successful, like I'm not trying 4 more times, I'm done. So I literally told the point of contact, like, hey, you know what I'm gonna do? I see a lot of your laptops are unattended. It's like people don't have laptop lock cables on them and they're just leaving them on their desk when they're gone. I'm just gonna steal them. And they're like, okay. Well, I'm sure someone's gonna question me on that. So I'm now walking through the halls with 5 laptops under my arm. 3 under one arm, 2 under the other, and I'm just going around, what's up, I see down this one row of cubes, 2 guys. They're talking, they're giving me that look. You know that look, that you come over here, just come over here, look, right? So I start walking down this row and I'm looking, and the halfway point, there's a stand with another laptop that's unattended on a docking station. And so I'm walking, and it's like high noon at the OK Corral, because they're looking at me like, don't you do it. And I'm like, I keep walking, I get halfway there, and I'm like, I look at them, I look at the laptop, boop, I take the 3rd laptop. So now I've got 6 laptops under my arms. And I walk over to the guys, and they're like, excuse me, we're from the sales area. It's like you were taking the laptops. You got our laptops? Like, yeah, I'm taking unattended laptops. It's like, how you doing? It's like, well, they're going to need them back. Oh, I'm sure they're going to. It's like, they'll get them back, I'm sure. It's like, I'll talk to you later. And then I walked off. I just walked. Like, and they're like, does not compute. It's like I literally, if you ever want to see what a real life buffer overflow is, there you go. And so I'm literally walk out the hallway, out the door, I'm in the elevator lobby. I don't push the button. I'm not literally trying to steal their laptops. It's not part of the job. I'm trying to wait till I get caught. And it does have a happy ending, because 20 seconds later, all kinds of hell and fury comes running up to me in a dress, and this lady ain't having none of it. It's like she comes up and she's like, I am so glad she got stopped at the doors, because if not, I would have dropped the laptop. It's like, okay, just don't hurt me, because I'm pretty sure you could hurt me right now. It's like, because she heard someone was getting the laptops, and what was the best part about it was all the other people, like 2 or 3 other people, and the 2 guys are trailing behind her. You know, she created a posse comitatus. She's like, come with me, we're going to go get them, you know. It's like, luckily there was no pitchforks or fires around, so it's like I was safe there. But she grabbed everybody, and they were like coming in mass now. She motivated them. She got them the impetus. The 2 employees just weren't empowered. They knew it was wrong. They knew that wasn't, but they weren't empowered to make it the action. It's like they were trying to be polite. She was not trying to be polite. She was getting stuff done. That's what you need. You need your employees to actually say, hey, do you have authorization to try to do anything with my computer? Do they know? Are they educated on the fact that no one should be at their workstation or do anything with their workstations unless they're aware of it previously, and there's authorization and there's knowledge that it's supposed to be going on? If they don't, that's not their fault, that's yours. That's what you're supposed to be educating your employees on. That's what you're supposed to be telling your employees. So start that education and process, and start empowering your employees to act, and then enforce it when it doesn't work. Now, the next thing that I really hate, besides the obvious, it's like, but our public spaces that are well monitored and highly visible. It's like, does anybody here know if that's the actual CIA lobby? Okay, good, just checking for feds. Okay, I tell people the only way I'm gonna get into that building is going through the back door with a bag over my head. So it's like, I don't think I'm ever going through the lobby. It's like, so one of the things I really hate are well-monitored lobbies. It's like people that are like, you know, that are not letting me go and loiter, because I like to loiter. Who doesn't like to loiter? It's like, I used to be homeless, so I loitered a lot. It's like, so it's like, who doesn't like doing that? So I go in, and this story is actually, and this is not a story that I'm doing tailored to you directly. It's literally a story that I've told in several different places, because it's a really good example of how to do it right. I was in Moscow last year, and I was attending Off Zone, and right before I came over here to Zero Nights, but it was actually worked out where it was like Off Zone was first, then Zero Nights. So I was in Moscow. I said, I'm just going to hang out and chill out and, you know, see around. And some friends of mine who work for Kaspersky were like, hey, Jayson, you want to come and take a tour? And I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. I just went and Sergey Beloved was nice enough to give me a tour of Mail.ru. So I was like, yeah, I'll take a tour of Kaspersky's. And it's like, and I know Eugene Kaspersky. I've hugged him before. He's a really cool guy. It's like good sense of humor. So I was like, sure, I'll go and visit. So I get there to the lobby, and I want you to understand, I can't turn this off. Trust me, I've tried. Other people have tried. It's like, I can't turn this. So whenever I go places, wherever I'm going, I just can't help thinking, how would I rob this place? You know, it's like, if I was going to be breaking in, what would I do? It's just something that I do everywhere. It's like, one time when we're not being recorded, I'll tell you the fun I had at the Tower of London and watching the Crown Jewels. It's a really cool story that I do not want to be recorded on telling. So I do things like that. It's like, it's just the way I am. So I get into the lobby of Kaspersky's headquarters, and there's a guy, a big guard over here by the employee things, and there's another guard over there by their little museum thing at the receptionist desk. And then there's this really cool leather couch that blocks the view of the receptionist desk from where I'm at, and a really cool statue of an elephant with really long legs. It's really neat. And so I was like, I'm gonna go sit down, just take a look, take a breath. It's like, just maybe happen to glance around, see what I can see. Man, my butt did not touch leather. Before I sat down, that security guard was, excuse me, comrade. I don't know. I don't do a Russian accent, obviously. It's like, how can I help you? It's like, you have not registered. Can I take you over there? It's like, you need to be registered. Let me take you over there. Extremely polite. This guy had a shirt on that was 2 sizes too small, or muscles 4 times too big. He can be as polite as he effing wanted, right? It's like, and I understood, no matter how polite that was, I'm effing going to register right now.
So he was very helpful, walked me over there and made sure I didn't get lost because it was a big lobby, it's like I could have gotten lost there. He knew I was gonna go right there. It's like, and then I registered. As soon as I registered, he could give a f about me. I was validated, I was verified, I was no longer an unknown. It's like, little did he know, but still, whatever, it's like that process was done. Stop making your lobbies enjoyable. Your lobbies should only be used by a visitor for the first 5 minutes before they get verified and then get taken to where they need to go, taken to the meeting. Don't make it comfortable for them. Don't make it somewhere where I can go. I have spent days in lobbies, it's like in hours, it's like monitoring where the traffic are, how it goes through. During the times of day, which gets more traffic, which security guards are more attentive. It's like scoping them out, trying to figure out what's going on. You want the lobbies to be noticeable if someone's standing around, oh, 3 people right there. That's noticeable. It's like that should be noticeable. So make sure your security is actually monitoring those people. Make sure they're monitoring what's going on. Now, I always love making this joke, but it's like, I'm still gonna make it here. It's like, is there anybody from the TSA here? Obviously not, this is a security conference. There's never TSA at security conferences. And this is one of me and the TSA have a definitely hate-hate relationship, don't worry, because I don't like security theater very much. I give it 2 thumbs down. But this is one of the biggest things that I love. No egress filtering or internal monitoring. It's like, I love that. It's like, and you think about it, it's like, well, how does that relate to anything with I am telling you, it doesn't matter how great your walls are and what you're building, what you're keeping out, if you're not monitoring what's going outbound. It's like, if you remember Sony lost 1.83 billion, billion? No, what am I talking about? 1.83 terabytes, there we go. I'm having a problem translating. It's like a 1.83 terabytes of data from their network. How? How do you not notice 1 point something or other? A terabyte of data leaving your network. I mean, even if you're networking, you should be going like, oh, should we increase the bandwidth? They look like they got a heavy package going. Someone should have noticed that. It's like, I wonder why all this stuff's going to Paraguay. Well, I guess not my department. It's like someone should have noticed that they were losing that data, but no one cared. One of my payloads on my devices is very simple. It opens up a command prompt. It automatically types to telnet.tal.blinkylights.nl in telnet. What pops up? ASCII Star Wars, because who doesn't love ASCII Star Wars? It's amazing, it's a great thing, you should try it. It's like totally not malicious. But I got a question for you. Why is Bob in accounting being able to telnet to the Netherlands? Why is that necessary? You need to start making sure when your employees have the certain rights going outbound. It shouldn't just be, oh, we trust what's inside, let them go anywhere they want. No! Trust me, we don't want them going anywhere they want. They go to some really bad places. That's even when you're monitoring it, they go to some really bad places. It's like, so lock that down. Lock it by protocol, lock it by IP address, lock it by ASN number, just lock it down. So you have to start doing that. Make it harder for the attacker to do that callback. It's like, how many people are doing that, you're not even doing this, the malicious stuff doesn't even happen yet. The magic doesn't happen yet. You're just sending out just the initial payload. It goes out to the command and control, pulls it in. Well, guess what? When it does that pull in, it's active OK traffic. And that's part of the problem, because that's being allowed. And then all the rest of the attack is coming from within the machine, coming within the network. Now, one of the things I hate is dual-factor authentication. I hate that. I hate it when it's properly implemented. I got to put a caveat on this, okay? Because I've robbed a lot of banks in my time. And the executives all have the same thing. They have that key fob. When they're doing $1 million transfer, they have to have a key fob because it's 2-factor authentication. It's something you know, and it's something you have. So I'm like, cool. It's like, who wants to guess how many times out of 10 I find the device plugged into the laptop. 9 out of 10, good answer, good question. It's like good answer there. It's like, so 9 out of 10 times. Guess what? Most of the time, do you know where that device is if it's not already in the laptop? Check the top drawer. It's in the top drawer. It's like, trust me, in this job, I've gone through a lot of drawers. It's usually in the top drawer. It's like, and that's where it is. So that's not really two-factor authentication, people. That seems like it is. I'm sure it meets PCI compliance, but it's not really. Make sure you're doing properly implemented dual-factor authentication. Are your RFID badges? It's like, because RFID is hard to clone, right? Oh, wait, no, it's not, actually. It's like, I've got 3 different devices that I can do that with. One of them looks like a keychain. It's like, so RFID is like, so start having the keypads. RFID, then a keypad. And please, not a company-wide keypad, so it's that same 4-digit number that gets rubbed in, and I'm like, oh, look, those 4 numbers are rubbed out, 2 and 3 and 1 and 4. I wonder what the code is. So it doesn't matter, it takes you 21 times to get the right code. And I have time, because I already have the employee's badge that I picked up from off of Starbucks with my Proxmark 4 card reader. So make sure you're doing dual-factor authentication. Make sure that you're actually making it a little bit more difficult for people like me to rob you. Now, all this is well and good, all this technology, all this devices that we want to put in, but let's be honest. If policies and procedures are not being followed, it doesn't matter. And this is a great example of poor procedures. This happened just last year. 2 civilians somehow breached an Air Force base and were found only when one of them told the airman she'd been kidnapped. Wrap that one around the head for a second. You know, everybody all worried about everybody, you know, running into Area 51. It turns out you could have just driven a Civic in and you'd have been fine. And you would have been able to have a kidnapped victim in the car with you going like, help me, please, and it's still been okay. That's a problem. The airmen didn't even understand that their base had been breached until she escaped and fought off her attacker, escaped out of the vehicle, ran up to the airman, and said, help me, I've been kidnapped. And their first question is like, are you supposed to be here? Okay, it's like, what was that guy doing? And I've got another great one. This is this just shows you how bad U.S. Air Force bases are. During the Cold War in Germany, it's like a Russian spy walked up onto a U.S. air field, walked up to a jet fighter, took off a missile, put it in a wheelbarrow. I hope he stole the wheelbarrow. It's like, it just sounds cooler if he stole the wheelbarrow too, okay? Put it in a wheelbarrow, wheeled it to his car. It's like, it was a Mercedes, of course. It's like, and put it in the back seat. This is the tip of the missile was sticking out the window. So he put the red flag on it, because German laws are German laws. You don't F with those, okay? He had the red tag on the missile, drove it back to his apartment, dismantled the missile, and shipped it piece by piece back to Russia. And it was a German mail system. Every single piece got through. We can all understand maybe some procedures weren't followed on that base. Maybe some policies weren't really enforced. It doesn't matter how good your technology is if no one's enforcing what's supposed to be there. It's like, you can't just keep using policies and procedures as a way to discipline someone you don't like or get rid of someone you think is making trouble. They have to be there universally for everybody, from the CEO to the guy in the mailroom. Everybody should follow those procedures. There should be no exceptions. There should be no, well, he owns the company, so he doesn't have to change his password. If everybody changes their password, he changes his password. It's like, if you have a policy, it has to be enforced by everyone. So what was this about? It's like, I call this my dessert and vegetables talk. I decided to try to be somewhat entertaining. It's like, I heard a chuckle once, so that was good. So I guess I'm doing that a little bit, but it's also to get you to the vegetables part. So now it's like, I showed you what's broken and what we're doing wrong and what's happening. Let's try to learn about some things that we can do to fix. So now I'm going to give you questions that you can take back to your work, to your enterprise, and ask them, hey, are we doing this or should we do this? So let's ask some questions. One of the things that your IT team needs to know is like, what are insider threats really? You know, everybody likes to think that that's the insider threat, the guy on the left. You know, he's like, malicious insider. It's like, you know, that's the malicious guy. That's the guy we got to worry about. That's the guy who's actively trying to do bad. Whatever. Look at this incompetence. The TSA, again, it's like, I know this is my surprised face, by the way, in case you're wondering. It's like they totally screwed up and did this story published in the Washington Post where they displayed, and it wasn't related to the keys. They were just trying to get some good artwork. They displayed all the keys and the ridges on the keys so they can be totally copied by everybody. And when I mean by everybody, I mean you can download those and 3D print them now. That was not a malicious insider. That was just pure stupidity. Sometimes your threat's not going to be done from malicious. You keep looking for malicious, and that's all you see, and you don't see the person doing something really stupid beside you. It's like I broke into a building one time where I didn't even break in because there was a Linksys router inside the building. I'm like, that's odd. Why is Linksys coming? I haven't even gotten to the meeting yet. I connect to the Linksys router because who doesn't connect to Linksys routers? Open up. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. You're a hacker. That's our given goal right there, right? That's like catnip. You know, it's like, whoo, open Linksys router. What can we find? So I go into the Linksys router. There was no internet access. They connected the internal network to the internet port. And I'm like, that's what we call bad in information security. That's called a finding. So yeah, I was very unhappy about this. It turned out an executive had done that. Not because they were a malicious insider, not because they were a threat, but they were trying to be more productive. They were trying to be a better employee. That executive noticed how much time he was wasting in conference rooms, going to meetings, and not being able to reply to his emails, not being able to respond to find out what's going on, not being able to get status and do business because he had to be in a conference room. So he plugged that Linksys in, so now he could be more productive. Now he could be working on his machine while someone's droning on. It's like it can actually be working. He had that for 4 months. I'm sure there was a lot of productive people going on in that network right there. It's like, so you have to make sure that it's not a user that's trying to do good who fails. Monitor everything. Don't treat everybody like a malicious user, but treat everything like a possible vulnerability that could be exploited. So your incident response shouldn't create a bigger incident. This is a huge F-up on several levels. I mean, I don't have time. You could almost do a talk about how bad U.S. Border Control screwed up on this one. But they allowed their contractor to download data from their private network and put it onto their contractor's network. And once again, shock-faced, that contractor's network got popped. And then 300 gigs of data from users and travelers were then downloaded, and they found out when the attacker contacted the contractors to let them know what was going on. Well, Border Control decided to do some incident response, and they tried to make a statement, which, yes, it worked out just exactly as you were thinking. So it's like, so they released a statement. It's like, don't worry, citizens and travelers. We've scoured the dark web. That's the way you're supposed to say it. Those are the rules. It's like, and we did not find anything. Your data is safe. It's protected. It's like the contractor, he's been disciplined. They've been counseled. They know what they did. It's like, we're doing all good incident response now. Your stuff is safe. Joseph Cox from one of the reporters spent less than, I believe, 30 minutes or so, and he also scoured the dark web. And he's like, and found all 300 gigs in around 30 minutes. It's like, so now, guess what? Everything that Homeland Security said, if it wasn't before, it's even more questionable now. Because I can't even believe them to tell me the truth about what happened with an incident when it's documented. make sure after a breach, you're communicating fact. Make sure you're communicating exactly processes, what went on, what happened. The better you communicate that, the better your clients, the better your stockholders and shareholders and the public feel about what you did or what went wrong. It's like when you get caught in a lie, when you get caught showing that you were extremely incompetent, experienced, it's like it goes badly for you. It will go bad. You will have a bad day, trust me. So that is what we need to start doing, making sure that your incident response doesn't make it worse. Make sure you're communicating properly. Here's a little bit lighter one. It's like, who do you ask for identification? What's that? Everyone? Correct. Very good. You're great participation here. I appreciate that. You ask everyone. Everyone should have an ID. Everyone should be checking. Everyone should be questioning if their coworkers have IDs. My friend Ben Tin from Trusted Sec, he actually told me this story where he said he found a company that every quarter, every 3 months, they had a competition. It's like, so they had 4 competitions every year. It's like once every 3 months. They had this competition where one of the employees in the company would have a valid employee badge, but they would change the picture of the employee's face to Waldo. Does anybody know Waldo? Where's Waldo? And that was the whole game, was to question your employees and check to see where's Waldo. It's like, and that's awesome. Because you gotta understand something, employees don't care about your data. Surprise, it's like they don't care about your security, but they do care about something that's in it for them. So by turning that into a competition, employees were more aware and more just on the lookout for employee badges. If I would have tried to go into that company that was doing that and I had my fake badge on, I would also have a bad day. It's like because they would have spotted that, they would have been onto it because they were looking for things like that. So weaponize your workforce. It's like they are not part of your problem, they're part of your solution. They're an asset, not a liability. So make them that way. Another thing is, what does your social media profile really say about you? That's one of the things we got to be careful about, right? It's like, especially about the rules of employee privacy. I'm not saying you can dictate what an employee is publishing or not publishing, but make them aware of what they are publishing and how it can be used against them. Like I was able to find, if you want to know why, hackers drink, do a search on Instagram for #new badge, #new job. It makes you sad. It's like, I don't drink alcohol, and every once in a while I'll go through and it's like, what does vodka taste like? It's like, it's those kind of days. So make sure your employees know. I did a job one time where I was showing an example of a lady on Facebook had made her cell phone number and home address publicly accessible to everybody on Facebook, not even for friends. Because trust me, we weren't friends and we were never going to be after I did these slides. It's like, but it was, all the information was just right there. And if you didn't believe me, it's like the next slide was a picture of the front of her house. Don't give me those creepy looks. It's like I got it from Google Street View, okay? I didn't actually I'm not that dedicated. I didn't go to her house and take the picture and a selfie. It's like I just got it from Google Street View. It's like, and I showed that. And that makes the employees understand that what they think is innocent fun of just posting stuff or their vacation pics or where they're going can be used for a spear phishing attack, can be used for a social engineering attack. They need to know and be careful about what they're posting, where they're at, what they're doing for things like that. Show them why they have to be worried, and they'll usually protect themselves. Screw the company, but they'll protect themselves, which then protects you. Now, phishing is one of the leading causes of compromise, but your employees really take it seriously. This is from just last week. Phishing attacks reached the highest level in 3 years. Guess what? It's not going to go down, because that's like hacking on easy mode. Send an email, send a link. Thanks to LinkedIn, because most of the people that are breached are using the LinkedIn data dump for the password. You send the email with the old LinkedIn password and tell the person, oh, I saw you do this, and it's like, give me Bitcoin. And that's effective because people are like, oh, that's my password. Still, after a decade, That's still my password. They got my password. It's like, so you need to talk to your employees about things like that as well. It's like, show them that. It's like, and we need to make sure that it's like they understand repercussions. If your delivery driver that you hired totals your delivery van, what happens to them? Probably something, they get a talking to, right? What about the second time they do it? Well, then they're gonna have to go see their supervisor. The third time you go, maybe you shouldn't have keys, right? You do not let your employee who does delivery, who uses that tool, that uses the vehicle, which is what you gave him to work with, you don't let them keep totaling the vehicle and be okay with it. Why do we let our users keep totaling our network and be okay with it? I say if an employee clicks on a suspicious email or a phishing link, the first time you educate them, you set them down, you explain to them what was wrong and what they did wrong. The second time, you take them to a separate course and you give them limited access and you make them go through some extra steps before they get their email. By the third time, there's no third time, get them out. If they click that link the third time, bye-bye. It's like we're all upset about a $30,000 vehicle getting totaled, but Target can lose $300 million to an email and it's like, oh, that's bad. You need the employees to know that there are repercussions. It's not just, oh, we told you not to do that. It's like they have to understand that they could lose their job, and guess what? Then they'll start taking it seriously. How many times do we vet our security systems to make sure they're operating as intended? Do we actually vet, once we've installed everything, do we actually then look for it and test to make sure it's still working? Do we test to make sure it's doing what it's supposed to? This is a great story from the NSA improperly overcollected call detail records for a second time last year. Documents show renewing privacy concerns about the surveillance program due to expire in December. It's like, this is my super shocked face. Oh, they collected even more data. I'm sure they didn't mean to, and they feel really bad about it. It's like, have you ever noticed, just like the NSA, the Facebook, whenever they make a mistake on their account settings or something, it's always to make it more public and gather more information? Have you ever gotten a notice from Facebook that said, oh, we're so sorry. It's like we made a change in our program, and so now we collect less data about you. It's like, to open this up to be more public, please click here. No, you never get that. It's always, oh, nope, we left it wide open. Sorry, our bad. You may want to go back into your settings because now your stalkers and all the other people that don't like you and your exes can now see what you've said about them on Facebook, which is awkward. So yeah, you got to work on that. So who puts in an IDS system and then like, we're done? It's like you test it, you go through the process. But what about 6 months from now? What about a year from now? Do you still test to see if that IDS is doing what you paid it for? Are you still making sure that it's updated? Are the firewalls still doing what they're supposed to do? Are they properly patched, properly maintained, properly updated? Constantly vet and check your security service. What happens when you send yourself a virus into your internal network? Who doesn't, right? I'm the only one that sends viruses to my internal company. Okay, whatever. It's like, so you gotta test that, but though, because you wanna see what the reaction will be. You wanna see if everything's working like you paid that guy. I mean, the sales engineer was a great guy, took you out to dinner and everything, it was a good food. It's like, but maybe you wanna just keep checking it. Maybe you wanna just, trust but verify that stuff. So one of the last notes I wanna leave is, it's like, man, Jason, this vaguely sounds familiar. It's like, yeah, I've been talking about employee education for over 10 years. I've just tried to figure out different ways to say it. It's like, and now it's like people are like, oh, yes. Now I'm just up and confessing to it. We need to start getting more of our employees part of our program instead of being part of the problem. We need to start educating them on that. We need to start making them work for us instead of constantly feeling that they're working against us. That is a constant issue. It's like great technology, there's great vulnerabilities out there, but when a user is still going to click on a link because you said dancing gerbils, and they're like, they get the warning and the technology pops up, it's like, are you sure you want to go to this website? This website seems mainly compromisable. This website doesn't seem secure. Click yes or no. And the user's gonna be, Motherfucker, I got promised dancing gerbils. Yes. Because dancing gerbils always win. So you have to make sure they understand what the threats are. Make sure that they understand what the protection is. Whew. Y'all think I'm joking. No, seriously, I'm done, people. Thank you.